Greetings, Dreamweaver world. Hope everybody's doing alright tonight. It's time for another lesson, the final lesson of the Christmas series. Let's go ahead and get started. So, rub-a-dub-dub, keep that brain in the tub. You know, a lot of people give me a tough time when I say that people need to be brainwashed. Just because of that negative connotation. But if you think about it, no matter what you do, you have to be brainwashed. You know, whether it's learning a subject in school or learning a particular trade or learning just about any subject that you want to learn about, you have to forget what you think you knew or what you thought you knew and relearn with the proper understanding. And that's exactly what this is talking about here. So it really is your new life manual. It'll help you through anything. It helps you in every part of your life. You know, anything that you need help in, it makes you better in every way. So I've said it before, just like it's almost impossible to get into the kingdom of heaven, it's nearly impossible to get it close to me. I mean, there's a reason why I am alone most of the time. It's because I have such high standards. Right? And people they don't seem to understand that. You know, and I wouldn't change that for anything. Because I want the people who hang out with me to have the same integrity that I do. I want the integrity of the cult and the kingdom to be as strong as me. Because that's the only way that it'll last forever. You know, it took 2 years for me wanting to take away the empire from people. You know, I had to set up where there would be the kingdom and the empire, and that would make up Dreamweaver world. But my enemies can continue to do what they did. They're doing the same thing today as they were doing then a year ago. And that's why I'm about to take away the secular government if I don't get the truth. If things don't start happening the way I say they should, then I'll just let you people figure it out for yourselves. Because obviously that's what you want to do. Because if you didn't, then you would start doing what I tell you to do. You would start obeying my command. And most importantly, you'd tell me the truth about the details of what's going on. So don't think that like this is all of a sudden that I've become angry, you know, and that I want to make life difficult for everybody. And you know, I don't think that my enemies thought about that. I don't think that they knew that I really had the ability to cast divine judgment on the world. I mean, I've kept the world in lockdown now for like 2 or 3 years. And they didn't think I'd be able to do that. But, you know, I've got all the answers. And when somebody has all the answers, they pretty much have to say so. I mean, my word is final. So you don't mess with me. And, you know, within the first couple of weeks of the persecution, I straight up told people, I was like, look, all we got to do is talk about this. All we got to do is work this out. And there wouldn't have even been a reality show, or at least it would have been done the way I say it would have. But there wouldn't have been any kind of persecution. There wouldn't be any kind of conflict whatsoever. Because my enemies knew then, just like they know now, that I've got all the answers. You know, there isn't anything that I don't know, that I can't work out. So you need to understand that, yeah, you need to trust me because I'm God. You need to listen to my instruction because I'm your daddy. I'm the righteous father. All right. Learn from me because I'm the wise man, and obey me because I'm the king. All right. These are all the reasons why you need to do what I tell you to do. Even if you don't believe I am who I say I am, you can believe me on one of these levels here, and you know that you got to do what I tell you to do. Ultimately, everybody needs to believe in me as the king. Now, as far as me being God, my believers know that. because they understand it to be true. But the people that are outside of the kingdom, I don't expect you to believe that I'm God, but I expect you to believe and call me the King. Every knee will bow, and every tongue will confess that I am the Lord, or there's not a new world. Eventually, everybody will, because there is only one way to have a new world. Be still and know that I am God. So we live and we die. Everything that's created is eventually destroyed. So the persecution won't be able to last forever. And I've found a way for us to be able to live forever. With science going along as it is, we will be able to live forever. And as I have explained throughout this lesson and throughout the entire series, I've explained how this is going to happen. It's all prophecy. I'm like an enigma wrapped in a prophecy, wrapped in the spirit, wrapped in the body of a man. So I am King Dreamweaver, the hyperspace age hippie, the only person you need to listen to. Do you believe I am who I say I am? Take the lead. Alright, it's cool Dreamweaver radio, wouldn't it? Alright, selection from the Quran here talks about how, a lot of people, whenever they talk about the Trinity, which, remember, there's no such thing as a Trinity, but a lot of people, when they talk about the Trinity, they want to think of it as God the Father, and then the Spirit being Mary, and then the Son being Jesus, right? But people don't understand that it's all just Spirit, all right? Mary, the Mother Mary should have never been deified, all right? Jesus should have never been deified. Do you understand? Because by doing so, it makes people think that idolatry is okay, that there's such things as gods or goddesses and stuff like that. It's true in the Old Testament that they refer to gods, but whenever they were referring to they're just talking about men who were thought of as very important people. A lot of times you'll see gods in quotes, meaning that there aren't really any gods, there's just one God. There's no goddesses, just one God. Alright? So understand that. Alright, so it talks about how Jesus was a servant. Alright, Jesus is not God. So if you're bowing down to Jesus, that's a problem because Jesus is not God. Okay? Jesus had the Spirit within him like I do. And remember, we're two different creatures. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we're the same Spirit. Alright? It's different though because I am God. Alright? That walks the earth. So understand the difference. Alright? If you are bowing down to a statue of Jesus at church, that's idolatry. This is why most Christians get it wrong. Because they think that it's okay to bow down to a cross or anything like that, but that is an idol. So if you have a church and you've got a cross in front of that church, or you've got a statue of Jesus on the cross, or anything like that, anything that you people bow down to that's in front of your congregation, you need to take that down. And the same for any temples out there that may have any kind of pantheons like Hinduism or anything else like that. If everyone would dedicate their temples, churches, whatever, to the absolute, to me, to the Spirit, then that would purify all religion. That doesn't mean that you can't use stuff from, say, Greek mythology or from Hinduism, the Hindu pantheon, or any of that for wisdom. I mean, the Bhagavad Gita is a very wise book, but the only way you can glean information off of that is if you look at it through the Dreamweaver lens, so to speak. And by doing so, you don't get carried away with all the idolatry. You don't get carried away with anything that is not righteous. You can gain wisdom almost off of anything. You just have to understand how to see things the right way, to see through the illusion. Okay? Because whenever you think about these things, a lot of these books, spiritual books, were written by people who didn't know better. You know, Hinduism is like one of the oldest religions in the world. And so there was a time that, you know, they didn't even think about there being one God. Yeah, they thought everything was one, but at the same time, they had their gods and goddesses or whatnot. All right, so understand that you can get wisdom off of all religions, but you have to be able to see it in the right way. All right, so next I have one of a few selections of things that I've written through the years to show you how this prophecy has progressed and developed. All right. So here I developed this ritual before the 21st of November. 21st of December 2012. You know, everybody was talking about it, end of the world, galactic alignment, all of that. So I decided that at that very time I was going to open the veil between the spirit world and the mundane, right? And I did so, and I kept that veil, or I kept what do you want to call it? I kept the opening open, right? And to this day, it's still open, and it caused both worlds to come together as one. And that's why things have gotten so weird the past few years. All right. And allowing this to happen has accelerated the process of the new heaven and new earth. Right. So here we talk about the aliens. These aliens that I met, the angels, they consider me to be their God, but they're what we consider God to be. So that turns the concept of God back on itself and creates the absolute on earth, bringing in the new heaven and new earth. Okay. So this is when Dreamweaver World was established. I timed it all out for this time here, you know. I mean, it really is weird. You know, it sounds very strange, but at the same time, the timing of it cannot be denied. And everything that has happened since then, again, cannot be denied. That's the one thing, you know, a lot of people can deny that I am who I claim I am, but you can't deny the facts. You know, you can't deny all the stuff that has happened, that is history, that's facts. You know, and all this stuff, it backs up what I say. All of this stuff gives evidence to everything that I claim. Alright, so then it talks about the process of that, the ritual that I did. That was a really cool night and morning. Let's see. Alright, so I described the entire ritual there, and it really was cool. I mean, you could tell that it was serendipitous, and it was what was meant to happen at that very moment. So I don't need to really go over this, except this last part here. You know, I pretty much said what's going to happen. Again, you can't deny it. You can't deny the amazing things that I've done the past few years and how it's all progressed. All right, another selection from the Quran here. It talks about how people try to compare Jesus with gods, you know, and try to confuse the issue, you know. And the whole reason that they are and were able to do that is the very reason that I was talking about, is because Jesus got deified, and that confused everything. And it's important to understand that he was the servant. All right? He was not God. He is not God. Understand that. All right? The only way that Jesus becomes God is through me. Do you understand? That's what makes me the Christ reincarnate, the Buddha reincarnate. Makes me all things. The Spirit. All right. So it talks about Jesus Jesus brought clear signs to people, and people still denied it. And people are contentious. Humans are contentious creatures, and it shouldn't be surprising that these things happen. But at the same time, you have to wonder why people are so goddamn stupid. Even when facts are presented to them, they still deny it. So there's going to be hell for those people, the people who are my enemies, and then there's going to be paradise for us who follow the Dreamweaver way. I am the master of the day of judgment. I decide. This is my kingdom. I'm only letting people in the kingdom who practice the Dreamweaver way. You understand? And if you people are smart, you're going to accept my compassion for you, the secular government, so I don't just make it heaven or hell. So you have a middle ground, a kind of testing ground, if you will, in order to decide what you want to do. Because otherwise, like I said, it's just going to be the kingdom, and I'll delete the world. It doesn't matter, man. Don't think I won't do it, because I am not... deleting the world is not a struggle for me to decide. The way you people have acted, it's ridiculous. It really is. All right. Okay, so this thing I wrote on Christmas Eve, again, the stupidity of people is amazing.